Good morning, students. Today we will discuss about metal, non-metal. In the last class, we discussed about the physical properties of metal and non-metal. In this video, we will discuss about the chemical properties of metal and non-metal. In this video, we will discuss about chemical properties of metal and non-metal. So this topic is very important. So try to learn. The first one, that is chemical properties, means the behavior towards other elements, means the reaction with the other elements, how the metal and non-metal react with other substances. That is their chemical property. So first we will discuss about the reaction of metal and non-metal both. That's why we are writing that reaction with oxygen. It's very easy. It is very well known that when metal reacts with oxygen, what will happen? Let you know that metals are good reducing agent. They loses electron. They are good reducing agent. In the last class we already discussed about it, that metals are reducing agent. So metals are reducing agent. Reducing agent are those substances which reduce other and oxidize itself. It get oxidized. So when metal reacts with oxygen, it will get oxidized and it will form metal oxide. It will form metal oxide. So write down this. Metal reacts with oxygen to form metal oxide. Here the metal oxide reacts with water to form metal hydroxide. And as you know that metal hydroxide are basic in nature, or you can say these are base. So we can say that metal oxide reacts with water to form metal hydroxide. That means metal oxides, these are basic in nature. If the question is like that, what is the property of, what about the nature of metal oxides? Then you can say that metal oxides are basic in nature. The question is that how you can prove that? Now, if we add water in metal oxide, then it will form metal hydroxide. Now, if we dip red litmus in metal hydroxide, then it will turn red. This one is the property of base. Base turns red litmus blue. So obviously you can say that metal oxides are basic in nature on the basis of this reaction. There is another process to identify that metal oxides are basic in nature. This one is when the metal oxides reacts with acid, dilute acid, it will produce salt and water. This reaction represents that metal oxides are basic in nature. Obviously you know, base reacts with acid to form salt and water. That is a neutralization reaction. So metal oxides are basic in nature. This reaction and this reaction, this experiment and this reaction, both represent that metal oxides are basic in nature. Let me take the example of these reactions. First one, that is metals reacts with oxygen to form metal oxide. Let me take the metal sodium. It reacts with oxygen O2 to form metal oxide, that is sodium oxide. The formula of sodium oxide is Na2O. If we balance the chemical equation, then we will get 2, 4. So it is the balanced chemical equation where sodium reacts with oxygen to form sodium oxide. So this one is metal reacts with oxygen to form metal oxide. Here sodium get oxidized. Now this sodium oxide, when reacts with water, it will form sodium hydroxide. If we balance the equation, so here sodium hydroxide, it is base. So we can say sodium oxide is basic in nature. So that happens when metals react with oxygen, then it will form metal oxides. So suppose the question is that what happens when metal reacts with oxygen? The answer will be metal reacts with oxygen to form metal oxides. Now the question is that what is the nature of metal oxide? So you can say that the nature of metal oxide is basic, or metal oxides are basic in nature. Suppose the question is that how you can prove that metal oxides are basic in nature. Then you will say that metal oxides reacts with water to form metal hydroxide, which turns blue litmus red. These experiments prove that the metal oxides are basic in nature. Fine. The aqueous solution of metal oxide can turn the red litmus blue. You can write like this also. Okay. This one. Fine. Next we proceed for the next. Now sodium oxide, the same phenomenon occur in case of potassium or any other metal. Suppose you are taking potassium metal, it reacts with oxygen to form potassium oxide. I am not balancing it, you can balance it by yourself. The next one, that is this potassium oxide reacts with water to form potassium hydroxide, which is base. So this reaction represents that metal, this potassium hydroxide, this turns red litmus blue, means potassium oxide is basic in nature, basic oxide. Now the next one, if we react sodium oxide, NH2O with acid, suppose hydrochloric acid, then it will form sodium chloride and water. As we know, sodium chloride is salt. If we balance it, then it will do. And this one is water. This one is acid. So it must be basic. We will not write base. We will write basic. Okay. So sodium oxide is basic substance or basic oxide which reacts with acid to form salt and water. Remember this one, very important, very important, that nature of metal oxides. Fine. Let me move for the next one. Some metals are there which will not react with oxygen so much vigorously. There are some metals which has the more tendency to react with other substance, and there are some metals which has the less tendency to react with other substance. The tendency of a metal or any other substance to react with other element to form compound is called the reactivity. Remember this point. The tendency of an element to react with other substance to form compound is called reactivity. It is very important question, that is, what is reactivity? The answer is the tendency of an element to react with other substance to form compound. Okay, you can write the definition by yourself. Now the next one. So different metal has a different reactivity, different tendency to react with oxygen. If we take the example of magnesium, generally magnesium do not react with oxygen at room temperature. Magnesium oxygen के साथ room temperature में react नहीं करना चाहता है due to the presence of a protective layer of magnesium oxide on magnesium. Magnesium is a reactive metal. First of all, it reacts with oxygen to form magnesium oxide. This magnesium oxide form a protective layer on the magnesium ribbon. As a result, we cannot burn the magnesium ribbon directly to produce magnesium oxide. फाइन. तो मैग्नीशियम रिबन को हम लोग डायरेक्टली बर्न करके मैग्नीशियम ऑक्साइड नहीं बना सकते हैं, क्योंकि या फिर डायरेक्टली ऑक्सीजन के साथ रिएक्ट करके ये नहीं कर सकते हैं. बिफोर डूइंग दिस एक्टिविटी वी हैव टू रिमूव द लेयर ऑफ मैग्नीशियम ऑक्साइड फ्रॉम मैग्नीशियम रिबन. That's why first we have to rub the magnesium ribbon by using sandpaper. तो पहले हम लोग मैग्नीशियम रिबन को सैंड पेपर से अच्छे से रब करेंगे, तो क्या होगा, मैग्नीशियम ऑक्साइड का जो लेयर बना हुआ है वो उठ जाएगा, वो निकल जाएगा. एंड आफ्टर दैट इफ we burn the magnesium with oxygen, then we form a white colored powder, that is magnesium oxide. फाइन, याद रखिए इस चीज को. दिस वन इज व्हाइट कलर पाउडर. इसमें साउंड भी प्रोड्यूस होता है, डेजलिंग साउंड, और इसमें लाइट भी प्रोड्यूस होते हैं व्हेन बर्निंग मैग्नीशियम रिबन. नाउ इफ वी ऐड वाटर इन इट, देन इट विल फॉर्म मैग्नीशियम हाइड्रोक्साइड. द वैलेंसी ऑफ मैग्नीशियम इज 2, दैट्स व्हाई द फॉर्मूला मैग्नीशियम हाइड्रोक्साइड इज MgO2. So here magnesium hydroxide is the base, and remember this aqueous solution of magnesium hydroxide is called milk of magnesium. Milk of magnesium. It is used as an antacid. Milk of magnesia is the aqueous solution of magnesium hydroxide. Remember, magnesium hydroxide is not the milk of magnesia. Milk of magnesia is aqueous solution of magnesium hydroxide. Let me proceed for the next one. Now, there are some metal oxides which are soluble in water, and there are some metal oxides which are insoluble in water. Those metal oxides which are soluble in water, they react with water to form alkali, like sodium oxide. Sodium oxide reacts with water to form sodium hydroxide, which is also water soluble base. That's why it is called alkali. तो याद रखें, वाटर soluble bases are called alkali. ये भी एक पॉइंट, एक क्वेश्चन है, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन है. व्हाट यू मीन बाय alkali, जो आप लोग लास्ट चैप्टर में पढ़े हैं कि वाटर soluble bases are called alkali. ठीक है, clear? All the alkalis are base, but all the bases are not alkalis. Okay, remember this point also. चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं. तो मेटल के साथ ऑक्सीजन का रिएक्शन हम लोग सीखे. अब आते हैं नॉन मेटल के साथ ऑक्सीजन का रिएक्शन. एक नॉन मेटल ले लेते हैं. तो नॉन मेटल के साथ ऑक्सीजन का रिएक्शन होगा, देन इट विल प्रोड्यूस नॉन मेटल ऑक्साइड. नॉन मेटल ऑक्साइड, और यू कैन से नॉन मेटालिक ऑक्साइड. This non-metal oxide or non-metallic oxide reacts with water to produce acid. This represents that non-metal oxides are acidic in nature. These non-metal oxides are acidic in nature. Again, this non-metal oxide reacts with base to form salt and water. This reaction represents that non-metal oxides are acidic in nature. And as we know that base reacts with acid to form salt and water, that's why you can say non-metal oxides are acidic in nature. Very good. Let me take an example to understand this concept. First one, here we are taking a non-metal, suppose carbon. It reacts with oxygen to form non-metal oxide, that is carbon dioxide. Okay, so carbon dioxide is a non-metal oxide. Carbon dioxide, it reacts with water H2O to produce H2CO3, that is carbonic acid. Carbonic acid. Due to the presence of carbon, as carbonic acid is produced here, and it turns blue litmus red. So this represents that the carbonic acid is acidic in nature. And how it is produced? It is produced by the aqueous solution of carbon dioxide. So we can say that carbon dioxide is the acidic oxide. This one is acidic oxide. Very important question. What do you mean by acidic oxide, or what is the nature of metal oxides? So you can say that metal oxides are basic in nature and non-metal oxides are acidic in nature. तो नॉन मेटल ऑक्साइड और मेटल ऑक्साइड का डिफरेंस भी आपको समझ में आ गया होगा कि नॉन मेटल ऑक्साइड बेसिक होते हैं जो एसिड के साथ रिएक्ट करके सॉल्ट वाटर बनाएंगे, एंड मेटल ऑक्साइड्स बेसिक होते हैं जो एसिड के साथ रिएक्ट करके सॉल्ट वाटर बनाएंगे, और नॉन मेटल ऑक्साइड्स एसिडिक होते हैं जो बेस के साथ रिएक्ट करके सॉल्ट वाटर बनाएंगे. ओके, चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं. नाउ carbon dioxide, if it reacts with base, that is sodium hydroxide, then it will form sodium carbonate and water. As we know, this one is salt and this one is water, and this one is base, so it must be acidic oxide. So it is clear that metal oxide reacts with acid to produce salt and water. Non-metal oxide reacts with base to produce salt and water. Right? Let me proceed with the next one. So very important, another type of oxide, that is amphoteric oxide. Amphoteric oxide. Amphoteric oxides, those oxides which reacts with both acid and base to produce salt and water are called amphoteric oxide. You can write the definition in another way. That is those oxide which can behaves as metal oxide as well as non-metal oxide. Okay, तो you can write like this कि ऐसे oxides, ऐसे कुछ metal oxides, remember amphoteric oxides are metal oxide, okay, non-metal का oxide नहीं है। तो एम्फोटेरिक ऑक्साइड वो ऑक्साइड है, वो मेटल ऑक्साइड है जो एसिड के साथ या फिर बेस के साथ, दोनों के साथ रिएक्ट कर सकते हैं, सॉल्ट वाटर बना सकते हैं। और ये ऑक्साइड वैसा ऑक्साइड है जो मेटलिक ऑक्साइड की तरह भी बिहेव करते हैं और नॉन मेटलिक ऑक्साइड की तरह भी बिहेव कर सकते हैं। देखो एम्फोटेरिक एक्चुअली ये एम्फीबियन के साथ रिलेटेड है। एम्फीबियन मतलब जो वाटर में भी रहते हैं, लैंड में भी रहते हैं। ओके, राइट, लाइक दिस। तो एम्फोटेरिक ऑक्साइड जो मेटल ऑक्साइड की तरह भी बिहेव करेगा, नॉन मेटल ऑक्साइड की तरह भी बिहेव करेगा। ठीक है, चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं। एग्जाम्पल अब इस डेफिनेशन को अपने हिसाब से लिख सकते हो। दोज ऑक्साइड व्हिच बिहेव्स एज मेटल ऑक्साइड एज वेल एज नॉन मेटल ऑक्साइड आर कॉल्ड एम्फोटेरिक ऑक्साइड। दिस डेफिनेशन इज आल्सो करेक्ट। तो एग्जांपल एल्युमिनियम ऑक्साइड Al2O3, जिंक ऑक्साइड। ओके, दिस आर द एग्जांपल्स ऑफ एम्फोटेरिक ऑक्साइड। और भी है, ये दो याद रखोगे तो एनाफ है आपका। Let me observe that aluminum oxide can react with acid or base or not. So reaction of, this one is very important point, reaction of aluminum oxide with acid. ये क्वेश्चन आता है एग्जाम में कि क्या होता है जब एल्युमिनियम ऑक्साइड के साथ एसिड का रिएक्शन होगा। मींस डाइल्यूट एसिड कहते हैं। Here it is aluminum oxide. It reacts with hydrochloric acid. What it will produce? It will produce AlCl3 and H2O. ठीक है, देखो इसको आप कैसे करेंगे, इसको आयरन में डिसोसिएट कर दीजिए। Al3 प्लस एंड O2 माइनस बनेगा। एल्युमिनियम का वैलेंसी 3, ऑक्सीजन का वैलेंसी 2, सो इट विल फॉर्म Al3 प्लस एंड O2 माइनस। इसको अगर हम लोग डिसोसिएट करेंगे देन इट विल फॉर्म H प्लस एंड Cl माइनस। अब जस्ट ऑपोजिट आयन को आपको ऐड करना है, Al3 प्लस और Cl माइनस, इट विल फॉर्म AlCl3, H प्लस एंड O2 माइनस, इट विल फॉर्म H2O। ठीक है, तो बहुत इजी है ये। सो इट विल फॉर्म एल्युमिनियम क्लोराइड एंड वाटर। सो इफ यू बैलेंस इट देयर इज 2 देन here we can see 6 3 then everything. Okay, so here it is aluminum oxide reacts with acid to produce salt and water. So here aluminum oxide behaves as basic oxide. Okay, it behaves as basic oxide, that is metallic oxide. Okay, that is it behaves as metallic oxide. Okay. Next we will proceed to the next one. So let me learn the reaction of aluminum oxide with base. Reaction of aluminum oxide with base. Here it is Al2O3, base here alkali we are using sodium hydroxide. Then it will produce NaAlO2. You have to remember this reaction. You have to remember the name of this compound plus H2O. Here this name of this compound is sodium aluminate. Name of this compound is sodium aluminate. So aluminum oxide this reacts with sodium hydroxide, that is base, to form salt, sodium aluminate and water. So this reaction represents that aluminum oxide can behave as acetic oxide. Acetic oxide means non-metallic oxide. Okay. तो ये दोनों रिएक्शन में हम लोग देखे कि एल्युमिनियम ऑक्साइड एसिडिक ऑक्साइड की तरह भी बिहेव कर सकते हैं। एल्युमिनियम ऑक्साइड कैन बिहेव एज बेसिक ऑक्साइड आल्सो, मींस एल्युमिनियम ऑक्साइड के अंदर मेटलिक ऑक्साइड का भी प्रॉपर्टी है और नॉन मेटल ऑक्साइड का भी प्रॉपर्टी है। दैट्स व्हाई एल्युमिनियम ऑक्साइड इज कॉल्ड एम्फोटेरिक ऑक्साइड। Maybe the question is like that, why aluminum oxide is considered as amphoteric oxide? Now you can give the answer that aluminum oxide can react with acid and base both to produce salt and water. Suppose question is like that, what happens when aluminum oxide reacts with dilute hydrochloric acid and what happens when aluminum oxide reacts with sodium hydroxide? So you can write these two equations. Fine? बहुत इजी है, इसको अच्छे से करेंगे, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन था। अच्छा, we also learned that there are some metals has the more tendency to react with other element to form compounds. Some elements are there which have the more tendency to react with other substance. Some elements are there which has the less tendency to react with other substance. You can observe that if we keep a iron rod or iron substance for a long time, for 1 or 2 years like that, then what will happen? Rusting on the iron takes place. But if we keep gold, platinum like this in open atmosphere, then nothing will be happen. Means what will happen? It will not be corroded. It means that iron has a more tendency to react with oxygen, moisture like that. But gold, platinum, they has a less tendency to react with the substances. So it represents that different metals has a different tendency to react. If we arrange the metals in the decreasing order of their tendency to react, then we will get a series. This series is called the reactivity series. Okay. So to learn the chemical properties very carefully, you have to learn about the reactivity series. So reactivity सीरीज, तो बच्चों स्पेलिंग मीनिंग देख लेना. रिएक्टिविटी सीरीज क्या होता है? द सीरीज ऑफ मेटल्स वेयर मेटल्स आर अरेंज्ड, वेयर द मेटल्स आर अरेंज्ड. देखो अच्छे से देख लो इसको. ये देखो रिएक्टिविटी सीरीज क्या है? ये सीरीज ऑफ मेटल्स है ना. सीरीज ऑफ मेटल्स व्हेन मेटल्स आर अरेंज्ड इन द डिक्रीजिंग ऑर्डर. इस चीज का डिक्रीजिंग ऑर्डर ऑफ देयर रिएक्टिविटी तो जो अच्छे से ध्यान दें इसमें कि रिएक्टिविटी क्या होता है. रिएक्टिविटी इज अ टेंडेंसी ऑफ एलिमेंट टू रिएक्ट विद अदर सब्सटेंस टू फॉर्म कंपाउंड. तो डिफरेंट मेटल्स हैज अ डिफरेंट टेंडेंसी टू रिएक्ट विद अदर सब्सटेंसेस. सो यू कैन से that if we arrange the metals in the decreasing order of their reactivity, then we'll get a series of metals that is called reactivity series. I am just writing the reactivity series for class 10. You have to remember this reactivity series. It is very important. आप लोग याद कर लीजिए reactivity series को. Here it is: potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, aluminium, zinc, iron, lead. यहाँ पे हाइड्रोजन को बॉक्स के अंदर रखेंगे. कॉपर, मर्क्यूरी, सिल्वर, गोल्ड, प्लैटिनम. Here decreasing reactivity. Okay. If you move up to down, then the reactivity of the metals decreases. Potassium is more reactive than sodium. Sodium is more reactive than calcium. Calcium is more reactive than magnesium. It means that if we move up to down, then the reactivity of the metals decreases. तो याद रखें ये reactivity series को आपको थोड़ा सा याद कर लेना है. बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. इसी रिएक्टिविटी सीरीज के ऊपर बेस करके हम लोग आगे के जो भी टॉपिक होंगे उसको डिस्कस करेंगे. मतलब बहुत सारे टॉपिक को डिस्कस करेंगे. तो इतना याद करें, पढ़ाई करते रहिए. थैंक यू.